7:35 in the region. We were just arguing a little bit over the break about AI. And, I mean, that's kind of the point, though, is that, like what I was just telling Bob, I said, what you're going to find is that people are going to go in and tell AI, like, hey, make a Marvel movie with me in the movie as, Captain Dire Man. Like, why are you going to go to the movies if you could just go home and have AI make a Marvel
wants
Bob
to see you
movie?
as Captain Dire
No,
Man.
but nobody but you wants to see it. That's the point, right?
Right.
I mean,
and like I was saying, I think the power in AI, in the mass use of it, in my estimation, is still in its infancy. If you're only using it for a glorified Google search, the basics has a neat way to compile information from a bunch of different sites, and that's all fine and good. But once you start using it for, again, computer applications, I don't know that it's...
I forget it. Like when I was in transition, I remember that when I was in, like when we were early, we were still in the, I think you were probably of the Oregon Trail days, like in computing. So it was like, in one hand, you're taking word processing class, and the other hand, I'm like, look, my computer at home, like school was still teaching you things. Like there were people that were taking typewriter class while they had a computer at home. Do you know what I mean? So it's like that thing where it's like, hey, you're teaching me something that's already outdated, but do I still need to know it? And that's sort of the question about, like, with kids and stuff. It's like, okay, should we be teaching kids today how to, like you said, how to use AI, or should we say, no, AI is completely banned in school because you need to learn how to do things, and then later on you can use AI to help you.
Well, and I think with some of that, it's not so much. I think we have to be careful of. Back in my day when I had to write a report about, Louis Pasteur, I had to know all this stuff. Well, it wasn't so much that the teachers wanted you to learn about him, although that was a side effect. They wanted you to learn how to research things, how to put things together. So perhaps AI is just a tool to learn that in a different way. You can't just, again, outside of just a Google search, you have to have some sort of finesse with AI to get it to do what you want. So maybe it's just a different skill set.
But my point is, what if basically the society just accepts, like you were saying earlier, the idea about you need to go into AI, you ask it a question, and you say, that's not quite right, and AI corrects it. What if society just says, okay, just ask AI for that report, and then just turn it in? It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. That's the work. That's the whole point. Is like, what if society just accepts, like, hey, we're just all going to go and write our reports using AI, and then at that point, my son can finish an entire high school class in 10 minutes. Like, here's all my homework, here's all my assignments, here's my test, AI processed, here, turned in, done, have a nice day. I mean, it's like, what's the point? What's the point of anything at that point? So, okay, do we have calls? Okay. We had an official boatload of calls, and we got 20 minutes left. So, good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Chuck and Bob. How are you?
Good morning, sir. How are you? I'm glad you chimed in on this. I want to get your take.
Hey, I love a good conversation about Chat GPT and AI, and I like Bob's example just now about doing a report on Louis Pasteur.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no different today than it would be 30 years ago when you went up and did a research in the library and went through I don't even remember what the file index was called back then. It's in my brain. The card catalog.
The Dewey Decimal
Dewey
System.
Decimal System.
The Dewey Decimal System. I knew it was in my brain someplace, but you could go get an autobiography or a biography on Louis Pasteur or Reagan, for instance, and get a book from someone who was totally biased on what their work was or like what their political stance was. And that's what you're going to rewrite the report on. It's not accurate, but it reflects the book that you read. It's the same thing with the AI choice you use. I mean, if you go to ChatGPT or Gemini, it's like having Ron Matlock or Burley Suggs chirping in your ear. Okay? That's
right. But so here's the point that I was trying to make.
It's drawing on Wikipedia,
right?
Which is a completely biased source.
So I mentioned earlier in the show that I had just finished listening to Adam Carolla on Joe Rogan, two of my favorite people.
Saw it.
And so one of the things Adam said that, again, Adam just says such wise things. I'm like, where does he come up with this stuff? He was talking about that part about even if you're smart, but you're not, even if your mind is smart, but you're not working out your body, you're doing your brain a disservice. So he was basically saying like, hey, I think better when my body has worked out, right? And again, so like it's genius. But the point is like, you're basically imagine, like my son has a workout class in high school. Why, I don't know. But imagine if he basically just showed the teacher a video. Like, here's an AI video of me working out. He didn't put in the work. You know what I mean? So put research aside and just look at the idea of exercising your mind and your body. You're not exercising your mind when you just go, hey, ChatGPT, give me a report about Louis Pasteur. That's my point, is that we're not.
Chuck, I thought I didn't know that Adam Carolla had been a carpenter.
Oh, yeah.
But it doesn't surprise me now because, I labored for bricklayers for a while when I was in college, and I definitely think, like, you, like, do physical labor, it frees your mind to do a lot of thinking about stuff that you would not think about.
Right.
This is hard freaking work.
Or even like when he said, you remember what he said about, I basically was working to get air conditioning. I mean, again, like just so brilliant. He's like, and he was talking about the idea that when he was younger, he was working to have nicer things. And now kids today have everything. So why would they bother? Why would I work harder to have a car with air conditioning? Why would I work harder to have nice things? I just get them handed to me. Again, you're not putting in the work. Because I think
some of the things you said earlier are very accurate. I think anybody who's using a desktop and a mouse right now, those jobs are going to be phased out. Not unlike jobs in agriculture were phased out with tractors and things like that.
Blacksmiths or whatever, yes, or
exactly.
making horseshoes, yes. Agreed.
But here's one thing that will never phase out when it comes to automation, robotics, computing, and it's being a mechanic for robotics, being a mechanic for automation. These things will always be necessary. And, this region is blessed by having a very good program teaching students how to do that right here at Purdue Northwest.
Well, and Mont, I actually literally used you guys as an example. I was even, telling them, I said, look, you have these complicated mechanisms. Somebody has to work on them because I don't care how smart, how great is an engineer, they will break. They need to be programmed and they will break. And if you're willing to get your hands dirty, and I don't care how complicated something is, it will break.
And they're amazingly good, well-paying jobs as well.
Because again, just like Farley said, I'll pay you six figures if you're willing to get your hands dirty and fix a Ford.
So just an example, I hired high-performing students that were recommended to me from professors to do work on prototypes. 6 of the 7 of those students that I had recently, the most recent ones, so the last 3 or 4 years, they all went on to get 6-figure income offers straight out of college.
But again, that goes back to my point of, you cannot chat GPT your way into teaching critical thinking. I mean, again, it's sort of like that exercising the mind thing. And that's what worries me. Even Bob was talking about the artists. Now, ChatGPT can, is close to being able to make a movie or can make songs, it can make art. Like, what happens when all of the artists get replaced by ChatGPT? I mean, that's...
So, Bob, the site that you want to go to right now is plotdot.com.
Okay.
Plotdot is like, it's got its new iteration. I think they were just out of beta just a few months ago. But Plotdot is scripting. It also gives you artificially intelligent images of your scenes, and can even lead to AI-generated like video clips. I think in 8-second increments. So,
wow.
I mean, it's getting there. I mean, it's still choppy and it's still very like. It's like the worst actors you've ever seen, like, standing up there.
They've had some videos out there that have showed the progression of AI, where it was 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 6 months ago.
If you're a manufacturer and you need to do like a safety video or something like that, perfectly good use of that,
But a lot of us, again, I'm a videographer. A lot of us, that was our bread and butter growing up. I mean, a lot of guys that come out of Purdue, that's what we do. It's like, hey, these guys need a safety video. These guys need a product
But Chuck,
demo.
you're still going to need people to prompt the system to like create the scenes. You can't just like say, hey, I need a safety video, and it's going to generate a scene for you.
No, I get it. But think about this though, Mott. But now, you graduate from Purdue and television or whatever, you go and do these safety videos. You learn proper mic techniques, which we've never learned here at WJOB. You learn how to light a scene. You learn how to run a camera. Now I'm never going to, how am I going to make that jump? I've never learned those basics of, hey, make those mistakes. I light something wrong. I don't have a microphone set right. If you don't learn all of those stupid things while you're making a safety video, then you're never going to grow as a content creator. And that's my point is like, it's fine that you can do that, but just like that exercise, like I'm not exercising my skills, learning how to light, learning techniques, if I'm not out there doing a bunch of safety videos and shooting weddings and stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's the problem.
Well, I see an opportunity for new classes, just like we used to have shop class to teach us how to use tools, I'm trying to think of a tool, trying to be, like everyday handy guy, but the planer. How's that?
Yeah.
We had a shop class teach us how to plane stuff.
Right.
Okay. Never used it in my life. Almost just forgot about what the name of the product was. But my point is we need classes now to teach us how to use these AI tools, whether it's script writing or, creating, video content or whatever. I mean, there's tools out there we need to be teaching people.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I mean, again, my only concern is just, again, we're taking that exercise portion, that growth portion out of this. And, when a middle schooler can go on, when my 8-year-old can go on ChatGPT and make a movie, like that's cool, but she's never going to learn the mechanics of making a movie. So that's my concern.
Right.
But hey, I appreciate it.
Have a great day, guys.
I'm glad you chimed in. It's a perfect guy to chime in on that. Thank you, Mont. Okay, let's take some more callers. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes. Excuse me for calling back, but when people call me out on something,
fair enough.
Let me make it perfectly clear. I am against taking over a neighborhood by gang members, 10,000 gang members in Chicago. Okay, I'm against that. Okay, I think one reason what Johnson and them is saying, they don't think that they ought to have ICE to come in there. ICE just dealing with immigration, but I'm just saying when they go into a community. Right now, if you give the local governments enough to have their own police force, that they don't have enough people here to do that. Sometimes when you have people like that in the community, it's people who are committing crime in Inglewood, number one in Chicago. Every morning you hear somebody.
Sure, absolutely. Again, Ron, I worked news. I was there every weekend.
Hold on.
I saw
Somebody know their attacker. It's not people like you and me walking through going through a neighborhood. They don't bother us. It's gang-related activities, and it's not. I don't want to have anybody believe that black people don't care what's going on in their community. That is not true.
Right.
That is not
Agreed.
true. But
we
it's the way you have to have some dignity about this thing. And right now, what I'm seeing, this lady was shot here lately. Went in because he said he tried to pour some hot water on. He shot and killed her. This kind of stuff. And right now, as a black person, when I see stuff you might not get on this radio and talk about this, but I need to go to some of those things. I was talking to I have a tenant, and he told me, I said, why don't you try to get a job? Because his wife worked. He said, I can't get a job. I said, why is that? He said, because I was drug selling. I said, have you ever heard tell of expungement?
Right.
And he said, no. I said, well, I tell you what, you could be expunged right now. And I say, they're doing it. I say, and the president of the United States is getting people pardoned, giving them a chance to second life.
Right.
I say, so, he said, Mr. Man, I said, I really thank you. I said, that's what I'm trying to do. Right now, if you've been on drugs, the first thing they're going to say, they're going to take you before you come to the job. And you need to say, so you can get expungement. And again, but when you don't have where we're all to get a decent job, other than a McDonald's, you can't support a family on McDonald's.
But that's always my concern, Ron, is this idea that we've created a society, again, just like Mont and I were just talking about, the society where AI just gives you things, or even we have a society where we give the man a fish, we never teach him how to do it. So he sits there and goes, what do you mean I can fish? Like, yeah, man, we can teach you how to, like, that's my problem with kind of where we're at, is we're not teaching young people how to fish. We're giving them a lot of stuff. Even, that's just, again, it doesn't, not even a racial issue. It's just like a generational thing where we're just giving these kids everything and they're never suffering. They're never putting in the work.
And I tell you, a lot of this has to do with people not being able to get jobs, like making the kind of money. They created some problems in the past, okay? And right now, we need to give you an example. Now, our congressmen, these things, in other words, they want to give more money to these communities. In Gary, they have these spotlights, these cameras, and they've been able to catch a lot. And thanks to our Congressman Frank Murvan, I have to say that he's been very instrumental in having the different cities. I know Gary has a lot of them, and they have been able to catch a lot of people who come across from Illinois or wherever they come from. I'm not saying they all come from Illinois, so I'm not going to do that, you know. But I'm just simply saying that when I hear these things like this, and I say, no, this is not. And I just think I am a kind of fair-minded individual. And I say to they say, well, these people won't give me jobs. I say, well, no. James Brown made a record. I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the doors, opportunity, I'll get it myself. And that's the way I've always been, ever since I was come out of school.
And Ron, I was just talking about again, that Ford CEO Jim Farley says, I need 5,000 mechanics. Is anybody going to a place like Gary and finding these young men and saying, hey, you want to learn to be a mechanic? We got a job for you.
Now Gary has an opportunity right now.
Yeah.
Nippon Steel.
Sure.
And then they need steel workers.
Right.
Okay. So I said to this is the way you do it. You know, go get your expungement right now. Okay. You get an expungement because right now, with things underway about another year, with the Hard Rock, the convention center, they're going to need thousands of people. Get us ready. We can't do this. Sometimes I blame the school situation that not having people, because everybody's not going to college. Okay?
Right. Well, no, I just said that, Ron. I just said, the school tells you go to college, and it's like, no, we need guys around here that can fix stuff and build things. We agree.
Being a bit repetitious, because sometimes that's good. That's healthy, because sometimes people don't hear you first time.
No, I got you.
We keep singing the same song.
Right.
And I'm just simply saying, I see a whole lot of things, and I work in this community hard, like I said. But for somebody to say, I'm approving what Johnson is doing, I didn't ever say I approved it. I say I think they are hollering for resources, okay? Resources. Can the government have, we can police our own thing, but we don't have enough money here. And then basically what Trump said, I'm going against all these people who, if you're a Democrat in the city, that is not the way to do it. Hey, look, Brandon Johnson, what do you need? What do you need? How can we assist? That's
and I will go back to, Ron, I'll go back to what I've been saying. You've got people like Trump and J.B. Pritzker, two, frankly, rich white guys playing politics with everybody else's kids.
There you go.
So we agree on that. So we got to go. We got to get through some calls. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you
come to my neighborhood. Come to my neighborhood and see anything going on. It's a beautiful neighborhood.
It is. Bob and I go to the Railcats games all the time, and you want to have lunch sometime, I'll get your number. We'll go get lunch, and you show me around.
Come to my neighborhood. I don't live in Mill. I live on the west side, but it's right now my house is valued over close to $300,000.
Yeah, I mean, again, well, that's what even like when we had our friend Chris Harden come to town. I said, hey, if you're going to go to Gary, meet the people that live there and hear the stories from them, and that's what we did.
There you go. You go.
Okay.
And let's stop preaching this hate. Okay.
I absolutely agreed. Okay.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. So thank you for the call, Ron. Let's take next caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. Starkey, can you do me a favor?
Oh,
what you got?
Next time Matlock calls, just say, if this is Ron Matlock, we're cleaning up the mess you've created the last 4 years. Please hold.
Verbatim?
Okay, just let me ask you this question. If there were more stores open on Michigan Avenue, could more black people be employed? Yes or no?
Could more anybody be employed? But yes, we agree.
Well, I'm trying to support Ron Matlock.
Right. But again, okay. But even beyond that, the idea that you want to give people retail jobs, you want to give them jobs at a steel mill or at the Ford factory. But
let me ask you this: I know Starkey was born with a silver spoon, correct, Bob?
A lot of spoons, yes.
A big spoon, but not silver. A big wooden one.
That first job you had, how much were you getting paid, if you don't mind me asking?
Probably $7.
Oh, not even. I mean, are we talking first job like delivering the Calumet Press, or are we talking?
Absolutely, first job.
Yeah, that was Calumet Press. So couple pennies per paper. First real job working at NetNitco, doing internet tech support, and I couldn't tell you what it was. But again, we're talking mid 90s, so.
But you kind of worked your way up job to job.
Oh,
did you
certainly,
not?
certainly. It
Okay.
took a lot to get where I'm at today.
Okay, so if there were more stores open on Michigan Avenue, maybe more people of every color and ethnicity could be employed. So if you want to open those stores, maybe not fight the National Guard and the feds coming in, so crime were down and more businesses would say, hey, we're going to stay on Michigan Avenue. We're not going to board up. Does any of that make sense?
Logically, it's a nice conclusion to reach, and that becomes the problem. Is you have these two parties that even earlier we were talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene and the president. When you go against your party, and I've been saying, why doesn't Pritzker and Trump sit down? Why can't Brandon Johnson and all those guys say, hey, look, we're going to sit down and try to come up with a solution so we're not at odds and we're putting our community in the middle of this? But neither one of them would do it because Pritzker wants to run for president, and it would look bad if there's a picture of him sitting with Trump shaking hands, right? That's going to ruin his chances of being president if he decides to sit down and negotiate with literally, the devil Hitler. Orange man devil Hitler.
And Brandon Johnson can't balance a budget to save his life. Am I correct?
Apparently not, because he's got to tax everybody everything, and it's still not enough.
I think today he's looking to pass some new corporate
The head tax. Yeah, he wants to put the head tax back in. So basically, just for the pleasure of being downtown, your boss gets charged several $100s a year.
So, Matlock, let me help you with this. Take all your watermelon money and go ahead and support Brandon Johnson again like you did the first time he ran.
Okay, appreciate the call. We got to wrap it up. Do we have any other callers? We're good? Okay, so there we go. So go ahead.
Good time to end
it. So let's, I know Bob's like, okay, we got a minute left. Anything you want to add?
I have no problem with AI, and I absolutely love having all my Christmas stuff up.
Okay. Well, okay. So again, this is America. You have the right to be wrong, even on my show. You're welcome to come on, and that's why it's great to have people like you on, so we can help guide you in the right direction. So, okay, Lynette, anything? You mad at me again this week? We good?
No, we're good.
You mad at Jim?
I think AI can be very helpful, but I don't think it should be prioritized or be made a requirement.
So is that something that came up? Is that something that came up where, like, first day in class, like, hey, I'm gonna catch you guys using AI, and if you do it, I've heard professors say like 80% of my class got caught using AI on the final or whatever.
Oh yeah. I once just used Grammarly to help me with check my grammar, and it got flagged as AI, which was a problem in that specific class.
I remember when I was at Purdue, I wrote a book. I was trying to find. It's like one of the things, like, you got to write a 3-page thing. I'm like, well, I'm 2 pages in, so I was like looking for fluff. So I was writing about All Quiet on the Western Front. I would add words like supple boots. The word supple, like, that's not in your vocabulary, and it got flagged. Like, okay, yes, you're right. I shouldn't have called them supple boots. And then, again, it's like silly stuff like that. Like, but you gave me 3 pages, and I was at 2.5. Like, I had to fill because of your silly requirement. So, but again, the whole point is you need to exercise the mind. You can't just go. You can't have 6-year-olds going to AI and spending their whole career in school just going, hey, AI, do my homework for me, because things are just going to get worse.
It's also just not good for the environment.
It's not good for, that's my point, that's what I said, is having my phone do AI, there's a data center somewhere using AI that I don't want. Like, I don't want this, and somebody somewhere has a data center because my phone does AI that I don't want.
It uses a lot of water.
Right, a lot of water. I mean, we talked about that last week. We have thousands of data centers in this country. Like, do we need them all? I don't know. Are we going to have thousands more just so my phone can give me wrong information when I Google stuff? I don't know. On that note, it is 8 o'clock here in the region. Thank you for listening to the fall of
Bob and Supple Boots Chuck.
Supple Boots Chuck here on AM 1230, 104.7 FM in Supple, Hammond, Indiana.